Hi drama nerds, welcome back. Two outcasts struggle to make it through their final year, only to have an unexplained event flip their lives upside down. Charlie is on the diving board while his friends push him to leap. This brings up his early drama when he was swimming and his pants were pulled down. People around him still ridicule his manhood, which drives him to plunge into the sea. He discovers brief silence underwater when he does. But even now, he gets teased by everyone, including the popular jock Constantine and his buddies Ziggy and Busty, as soon as he comes out. He runs to the locker room, but his bullies show up. He hides in a cubicle then. Charlie overhears thus that Constantine is being ignored by the most beautiful girl in the school. And although they present a macho face to others, Ziggy and Busty are in a relationship. Charlie's best buddy Paula picks him up following class, and they gladly welcome one another as they converse in code. His best friend suggests not checking his phone when he gets home. Then he sees how his parents, Rudy and Sabine, fight over the outdated yogurt the father kept despite lactose intolerance. Paula, on the other hand, goes back home ignoring her younger sister Phoebe and her mother, who talk of how the older sister is more like her father who died. Moments later, Paula dominates a video game she is playing, and a league member sends her a nasty photo that seriously disturbs her. She hangs out on the rooftop with Charlie that evening, fuming by her treatment as a woman. She then consoles her pal about years ago bullying for an incident. They value each other at last. Lightning strikes them out of nowhere, and they apparently survive as well. Charlie wakes up the next day to find an unexpected voice talking nonstop, motivating him to investigate his earthly needs. He panics shortly after noticing the passionate greeting from his manhood. Before he can respond, though, Rudy storms into the room and catches him talking with his member Willie, his folks constantly invading his privacy, hence he hurries to the restroom to cool it down. Paula will shortly come to fetch him up, but the freaked-out Charlie bolts in his bike to avoid her since, despite its explanation that only the man can hear its voice, Willie cannot be controlled. Later he turns his bike over to his father, a janitor at the school, since he ends up crashing it in his rush. Charlie's word then slows down when he spots Marlene, the hottest girl in the school, and Willie pushes him to talk with her. Director Voight reminds students, especially throughout class, about the final test. While Willie wanders around earthly delights, agitated Charlie excuses himself to the bathroom, believing Willie would shut down if satisfied. Regretfully, it starts randering after the little pause. Charlie then has another obstacle since he is a choir member facing the senior class and the delegation from their affiliated university. Unlike the owner, Willie becomes quite excited and steals the show. Mr. Pendergast starts the concert as the conductor and shortly tells Charlie to walk forward for his solo performance. But Willie finds a lovely exchange student from the group, Francoise, and a tent shows up in his pants, which starts Charlie off on panic. Unaware that his mic is on and some of the talk with Willie is being aired on, the mortified student rushes to hide backstage as the audience starts to realize some record him. Charlie is still suffering in humiliation at home while Paula tries to show him the now viral video Marlene uploaded from the choir event. He ignores it, thus Paula massages his shoulders to satisfy him. She asks her best buddy whether he would prefer to share a sleeping quarters. Charlie turns down while Willie gladly agrees. Embarrassed, Paula leaves to the bathroom while Willie fights with his owner about lost opportunity. Paula starts fighting with her private, hoo-ha at the same time regarding her prior mortifying contact with her best buddy. She goes back to Charlie's room, quickly gets her belongings, then walks out. Later on, Willie calls his owner, but Charlie tells his member to stop bringing up his closest friend if he wants a bargain with him. Then he suggests guiding Paula away and letting her pass her last test without disturbance. He will then perform what Willie requests, to which the member approves. Charlie finds Rudy absent the next day, while his mother searches for guys on an online dating app. Rudy tells his dad that Sabine needs time alone when he rushes to school to talk with him about his mom. The son gets more annoyed when his father casually sips his coffee and pushes his father to act in order to get his mother back. Charlie leaves his dad and is shocked greatly when students swarm him because of his viral video. Unaware that he draws Marlene's attention, especially given Constantine's contempt of him, the student welcomes his sudden popularity. Paula sees him among the throng and starts to talk about their embarrassing exchange, but Charlie brushes off her as people snap pictures with him. Then he runs upon Francoise, who begs him to assist her in getting acquainted with the location. Charlie declines but quickly changes to a suave request to spend time with a lady as Willie gets more thrilled. Paula and Yuha are watching them cruelly in meantime. She locks herself in the bathroom, and her unusual friend asks about her only experience with males 2 years ago on vacation. Paula met a handsome man on a beach, but she started to cry as he moved on her, remembering her dead father. Her heart shattered and her womanhood questioned. The man insulted her Yuha. Yuha exhorts Paula to explore her body and channel her femininity as the recollection fades. The son soon begins shopping for personal clothing with his mother. After spending time with Rudy and Charlie, Sabine speaks about her wish to turn her attention back toward herself. She then gets a message from the dating app and misreads the eggplant emoji as an invitation to cook with someone. Charlie tries to explain its meaning, while Willie chuckles. Paula then goes an adult boutique, where Yuha fervently asks her to test on black lingerie. She requires a larger size yet fits the clothing. She nervously heads out and unintentionally runs across the shop assistant, who is nowhere to be seen. Unknown to her, Marlene's pals, Leonie and Sarah, see her enter the store and start to draw inferences. Late that evening, the best buddies reconcile on the rooftop. Their privates continue to run wild concurrently, so they may move on each other. Charlie emphasizes that this makes things embarrassing once more since he just sees Paula as his friend. He remarks something is different when he looks at her, but she only smiles in contentment. Paula looks out hot boys around and feels free going to school the next day. She welcomes Marlene's group and talks about how amazing it is to be a woman. Marlene invites Charlie to her party later on, and Constantine notes her too nice approach of the outcast. While Sarah and Leonie call out Marlene for using Charlie to make Constantine jealous, his buddies mock him for being the only one uninvited. Torn between Marlene's and Francoise's invitations, the naive Charlie turns to Rudy for guidance. His father's colleague agrees, even though his viewpoint is unwelcome when his father advises bringing the foreign exchange student to Marlene's party. Constantine, on the other side, requests Paula to be his party date. She welcomes right away without realizing the man isn't invited and is manipulating her. Director Voight reminds Rudy of the policies on overtime and utilizing his workplace as sleeping quarters while she calls him into her office. The janitor shrinks in his seat, literally and in guilt for being found, with the director's every word. Paula asks Phoebe to help her get ready for her date at the same time, while Charlie openly brings Francoise to Marlene's house without informing her they are going to the party. Reality falls in for Francoise when Marlene opens the door and the owner starts to treat her angrily. Francoise makes sarcastic remarks on the matter, but Charlie doesn't get it. She offers him to drink to help to relax the strain. Willie objects, knowing it won't lead to her being bedridden. Charlie still agrees, though, and as the evening goes on, the two have fun on the dance floor, while Marlene's entourage observes negatively. When Paula and Constantine show up at last, the unwelcome guest purposefully puts his arm around the shoulders of Marlene to make her envious. Yuha remarks on his every action, expecting intimacy and missing the man's actual motives. Paula interacts actively with the women and spots Charlie. Yuha directs her attention onto Constantine. They sip a drink, and the drunk Paula excuses herself to go to the bathroom. Marlene upsets Charlie and Francoise to make Constantine jealous, and after a little pause, the women laugh and keep dancing with him. Paula also starts to cry when she hears Leonie and Sarah about her being a tramp. Walking away, she blames Yuha for her damaged reputation. She runs across Constantine, though, who persuades her to talk alone, and this delights Yuha. Paula talks about Charlie in her room, but Yuha continually diverting her since she is only thinking about what it will get for the night. Her date then kisses her even though she insists she's not that kind of lady. He keeps on pressing on her, but Constantine ends by himself startling Paula and disappointed Yuha before they can act. To keep this a secret, he asks his date. Paula answers consoledly. Later, Ziggy and Basti observe Constantine and remark on his being with Paula in the same room. The jock so emphasizes that the woman is a tramp by saying that anything transpired between them. Paula, on the other side, visits a spent Charlie and tries to counsel him on his alcohol consumption. Instead, he denigrates her gender, breaking Paula's heart as he delights in his popularity. Marlene snaps a picture of herself and Charlie on the bed the next day as she brags about the happenings of the previous evening on the internet. Charlie goes with anything Marlene says, even if he doesn't remember last night. His headache becomes worse when he gets home when he sees his mom playing Twister with her new acquaintances. Charlie and Paula soon simultaneously come across Marlene's post. After school, he is praised by everyone for sleeping with the hottest female, while Francoise is furious with him. Unlike him, Men approach Paula with hate because of the rumors Constantine generated. She confronts him about this, but the jock ignores her warnings as nobody would believe someone like her. Paula suffers being shamed, while Charlie hangs out with Marlene and ignores his best friend while his expected partner treats her badly in front of him. Days go by, and Charlie stays at Marlene's side despite the woman clearly disgusted with him. Simultaneously, Sabine starts to feel the emptiness in the house as one item disappears one by one. Paula gets more secluded while Voight soon discovers more furniture in the staff rooms. Charlie tries to be closer to Marlene one day, but the woman tells him straight out she hates him. She then goes to the ladies' room, and Charlie tells Paula right away. But his closest friend doesn't give a damn about him and walks into the ladies' room where she finds Constantine and Marlene kissing. She departs right away, cautions Charlie not to enter, but he goes anyhow. This allows him to hear Marlene tell Constantine that nothing happened between her and Charlie. Slapped with the truth, the outcast disappears crying. Unknown that Voight is randomly watching, Rudy expresses his emotions by dancing while cleaning after lessons. When he catches her, the director just tells him to go with his life as he wants and ignore rumors. That evening, Charlie dies from self-pity while Marlene and Constantine's connection is publicly reported. Sabine visits him, but she rumbles about her connection with Rudy instead, even though her kid talks about his worries. Charlie informs her furiously how immature she is for not supporting her child and emphasizing on herself. Though Charlie totally forgot, the surprised mother remembers to wish him luck for the final test as she leaves. He studies that evening cramming, but on the day of the test he nods off. Charlie realizes how he screwed his life now that he's totally alone when the time runs out and his notepad stays blank. Charlie tries to cut off Willie and drinks to soothe his heart's content that evening. Still, he hears Paula shouting out suddenly. She is intoxicated, and he sees her about to leap a bridge. He runs to her, then overhears her fighting with her. This helps the pals to understand they find themselves in the similar circumstances about their privies. Paula closes down and moves away from the brink. Charlie utilizes this opportunity to apologize, but the woman is still offended that he treated her like a tramp, just like everyone else, while he was given 15 minutes of notoriety. She then bursts off crying. Later on, Charlie asks his father for guidance. Rudy advises him to keep showing her how important she is even if an apology won't be sufficient. Charlie reminds his father not to give up on his mother before they head off. Charlie talks Paula into making their adversaries pay at their graduation dance the next day. She agrees but notes that they will be done with each other going forward, which depresses Charlie. Charlie orders Paula to humiliate Constantine at the party the next evening. She must persuade Francoise to assist as well. Paula gets offended that she is once more being used. She so gives her pal instructions to speak with Francoise personally. They approach Francoise, and Paula asks her best friend to apologize to the woman for fooling her into the party. Saying it's preferable to like women helps Paula lightens the atmosphere and helps Francoise to express her tastes. The foreign woman then tells Francoise how Marlene took the intoxicated Charlie away from her on the night of the party, therefore leaving her feeling deserted. Charlie apologizes even if he cannot recall this. Francoise thus consents to impart to Constantine a lesson. Later on, she invites Constantine to spend some alone with her. Paula opens the curtains showing the jock on stage with his pants down after she unzips his jeans. Everyone starts teasing his weight while Marlene sees him trying to cheat on her. Given this, the best friends experience great suffering since they can identify with his circumstances. Declaring that everyone has vulnerabilities and that nobody is meant to be laughed at, they step on stage beside their bully. Inspired by them, Francoise exhorts everyone to refrain from embarrassing others. Soon the audience follows suit, and the auditorium echoes with applause. Voight then tells Charlie, who is in a festive mood, he won't graduate. Charlie, Paula, and Francoise head leave after the celebration ends. Feeling freed, Constantine races after them. Paula ends her retribution by cutting the lights of his motorcycle. To console Marlene, Leonie and Sarah hug her. Instead, she treats them disrespectfully. After enough of her attitude, the women leave her alone after returning her insults. Later, Constantine follows Marlene to clarify what happened with Francoise. Charlie declines when the foreign exchange student offers the best buddies to share a bed and thanks them for a great time since he wants to reserve himself for a remarkable woman. Paula breaks their relationship when Charlie remembers the deal. The man kisses his former best friend at last while they're staring at one another. Soon they are in Paula's room, Eager to enjoy their first private moment as Hua and Willie can't control their enthusiasm. Still, seconds later Charlie is gone without fulfilling Paula. They repeat it, but the man barely lasts a second longer. Paula then tells him what to do, and at last she finds gratification. Paula takes Charlie to the door the next day, and her family securely hugs her, happy she is at last in a nice relationship. Conversely, Charlie nervously assists Rudy in getting ready for his date comes on the door, and the father enthusiastically visits her despite his son's objections about his mother. Charlie embraces his father since he finds out the date is Sabine. Paula picks up Charlie for a date shortly, but as they drive the couple is startled when Willie and Hoo-Ha start talking in an argument.